When you think of the richest person in history, who comes to mind? Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, maybe historical figures like John D. Rockefeller or Andrew Carnegie. But what if I told you the wealthiest individual in all of human history was an African king from the 14th century, whose fortune was so immense it's literally impossible to calculate? Get ready, because today we're diving into the incredible story of Mansa Musa, the Golden King of Mali, and exploring why this titan of wealth has been largely erased from our history books. His story isn't just about gold. It's about a sophisticated empire, incredible generosity, and a legacy that was deliberately buried. So, who was this man? Mansa Musa came to power in the Mali Empire around the year 1312. At the time, Europe was struggling through the Middle Ages, dealing with famine and conflict. But in West Africa, the Mali Empire was a thriving center of trade, culture, and education. And at the heart of its prosperity, Gold Mali was sitting on some of the world's most abundant gold deposits, and Mansa Musa controlled it all. Historians estimate that the Mali Empire accounted for almost half of the Old World's gold supply during his reign. But it's one legendary journey that truly cemented his place in history and gave the world a glimpse of his unimaginable wealth. In 1324, Mansa Musa, a devout Muslim, embarked on the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca. Now, this was no ordinary trip. This was a procession of epic proportions. Imagine a caravan stretching as far as the eye can see, a moving city of gold. It's said his entourage included 60,000 men, all dressed in fine silks. There were 12,000 attendants, each carrying a 4-pound bar of solid gold. And leading the way were 500 heralds, also draped in silk and carrying gold staffs. Even the camels, all 100 of them, were each laden with up to 300 pounds of pure gold dust. This wasn't just for show. Mansa Musa was famously generous. As his caravan traveled across the Sahara Desert and through cities like Cairo, he gave away gold to the poor, bought souvenirs from local merchants, and funded the construction of a new mosque every single Friday. He was literally handing out fortunes to anyone he met. His generosity was so extreme that when he stayed in Cairo for 3 months, he put so much gold into the local economy that he completely destabilized it. The value of gold plummeted, and it took the entire region, including Egypt, over a decade to recover from the inflation he caused. Think about that for a second. One man's spending spree crashed the economy of an entire country for 12 years. That's a level of wealth that's hard to even comprehend. We don't have anyone in the modern world who could do that. When news of this Golden King reached Europe, it sparked a sensation. Mansa Musa was soon featured on the 1375 Catalan Atlas, one of the most important world maps of the medieval period. There he is, depicted sitting on a throne, holding a golden scepter in one hand and a glistening gold nugget in the other. For Europeans, Mali became a fabled land of gold, a sort of real-life El Dorado. This map was a turning point. It put West Africa squarely on the European radar as a place of immense wealth, which, as we'll see, had long-term consequences. But Mansa Musa was more than just a rich king who liked to give away gold. He was a visionary leader, a builder, and a patron of learning. On his way back from Mecca, he brought back with him scholars, architects, and artists from across the Islamic world. He was determined to turn his empire into a global center for education and culture. His most famous project was the transformation of Timbuktu. Under his rule, Timbuktu went from a relatively small trading post to a legendary city of scholarship. He commissioned the construction of the Jingerbur Mosque, a magnificent structure made of earth and wood that still stands today, almost 700 years later. He also founded the University of Sankar, which became one of the world's greatest centers of learning, housing a library with an estimated 700,000 manuscripts. Scholars from all over Africa and the Middle East flocked to Timbuktu to study mathematics, astronomy, law, and philosophy. At its peak, the university could host 25,000 students in a city of 100,000 people. This was a thriving metropolis of knowledge at a time when universities in Europe were still in their infancy. Mansa Musa understood that true wealth wasn't just about gold. It was about knowledge and legacy. He was building an empire that would enlighten the world. So, if Mansa Musa was so powerful, so wealthy, and so influential, why have so many of us never heard of him? Why isn't his story taught in schools alongside figures like Alexander the Great or Queen Elizabeth I? The answer is complex and, frankly, a little dark. It lies in the way history is written, and by whom. For centuries, the dominant historical narrative has been overwhelmingly Eurocentric. The history of Africa was often dismissed, ignored, or intentionally rewritten by European colonizers. As European powers began their scramble for Africa centuries later, it wasn't convenient for them to acknowledge that the continent had a history of powerful, sophisticated, and incredibly wealthy empires that rivaled or even surpassed their own. The narrative they promoted was one of a dark continent that needed to be civilized by Europe. A figure like Mansa Musa, an educated, powerful, and unimaginably wealthy black king, completely shattered that racist narrative. It was easier to erase him, to let his story fade into myth and legend, rather than confront the reality of Africa's rich past. The Mali Empire itself began to decline after Mansa Musa's death. Internal conflicts and the rise of rival empires, like the Songhai, chipped away at its power. And as the transatlantic slave trade began, the focus of European interest in West Africa shifted from gold to human beings. The great cities like Timbuktu lost their prominence, and much of their history was lost or destroyed. Thousands of priceless manuscripts from the great libraries were burned or scattered. What we know today has been painstakingly pieced together by historians from Arabic texts and oral traditions passed down through generations of West African storytellers, known as griotists, but the legacy of Mansa Musa is experiencing a powerful resurgence. As we seek to decolonize our understanding of history, his story offers a vital counter-narrative. It reminds us that wealth, power, and intellectual achievement were never confined to one part of the world. He shows us a different vision of wealth, one tied not just to personal accumulation, but to generosity, faith, and the pursuit of knowledge. His pilgrimage wasn't just a display of riches, it was an act that connected West Africa to the wider world and sparked an intellectual renaissance. The story of Mansa Musa is more than just a historical fun fact about the richest man ever. It's a testament to a lost golden age and a crucial piece of our shared human story that was almost forgotten. It challenges our perceptions and forces us to ask what other incredible histories have been left in the shadows. His legacy is a powerful reminder that history is vast, complex, and full of wonders if we only know where to look. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. What do you think? Were you surprised by Mansa Musa's story? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the histories you were never taught in school. See you next time.